This conference will now be recorded.
Oh. I think we're going to be done.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's 1:30 now, but we'll go ahead and give a couple more minutes for folks to come on. Good afternoon, Chairman Lowry.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Good, good.
I hopped on and told everybody we'd give them a couple more minutes to get people on.
Okay, sounds great.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we today?
Hi, Andrea.
Good. Thanks, Andrea.
Good.
Hooray!
Hey, James.
Yes.
I think we've got somebody in the waiting room ready to be let in.
Okay. The meeting's unlocked. There shouldn't be a waiting room.
I know, that's what I thought.
I don't have a waiting room set up, so I don't know how they could be in a waiting room.
They may be in the wrong one.
Now that's quite possibly true.
Maybe they're just an overachiever.
I
Maybe,
know, right?
maybe they went and logged into tomorrow's meeting.
I know.
Hi, y'all. This is Ed Knight. I have Michelle Hall in the room with me.
Ed.
Hi. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let me send this to you. Hey, James, I'm emailing you something right now, okay?
Okay.
Scott, I guess I'm wondering while Andrea and James get people loaded and figured out while they're in the room, if they're not really in the room. I mean, we have a nice sized group of people, but I'm wondering if for this first committee meeting, it makes sense to go ahead and just, you know, kind of one of us can kind of go around the Hollywood squares there and just let everybody at least tell us who they are and which place they're from. Do you think it's worth it to take the time to do that? That seems nice for.
Sure, it's a smaller group. I think we can knock it out pretty quick.
Okay, good. Well, maybe I'll just start and then you can call out names as you have them on your screen, and then I'll turn off my mic. How's that? So my name's Sue Lowry. I'm the federal chair for the Red River Compact Commission. I live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and prior to this, I actually did a almost 30-year career with the state of Wyoming working on interstate activities. So it's a pleasure to be involved with this Compact Commission where I get to learn new things about the Red River. So with that, Scott, I'll turn it to you for other introductions.
All right, thank you. My name is Scott Van Winkle. I am the engineer or technical advisor for the Red River Compact. I'm stationed here in Austin. I'm with TCEQ, and I am a hydrologist for the state. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump on over to Andrea.
Hi, my name is Andrea Williams McCoy, and I serve as the secretary of the Red River Compact Commission. And we're excited to have Robin Phillips joining us this year. You know, we were very deeply saddened by Clyde's passing, but we're pleased to have Robin come and be a part of the organization. I know she's going to be a great asset moving forward for Texas and the compact.
James Scoggins, would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure, I'm James Scoggins. I'm with Grayson College, and man, I'm just making sure everything works today.
He's awesome. Thank you,
We appreciate it, James. Jason Lewis.
Hey, good afternoon. Jason Lewis. I'm the branch chief of the Oklahoma office of the U.S. Geological Survey.
Thank you, Jason. Commissioner West Ward.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Wes Ward from the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, and I know we've got several from our team is on here as well. So I'll let our folks go next, if you don't mind, and I'll go to Ryan Benefield.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm Ryan Benefield. I'm the Deputy Director at the Natural Resources Division of the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, and I also serve as Treasurer for the Compact. Let's see, Sean, you want to go? I saw Sean. I'm not hearing you, Sean. You were talking, but I didn't hear you. That's Sean Jackson with the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Division. Ken?
Hi, John. Anyone else from Arkansas?
I see Ken Brazel with Arkansas Natural Resources. We're having evidently technical difficulties here in Arkansas. But Ken's on the line too.
All right, we have in Texas, I'll go ahead and finish up my folks. We have Trent Gay. Trent?
Hey guys, I'm Trent Gay, hydrologist with TCQ. Having a little camera issues, but I help out Scott on the compacts.
And our new person, Carl Myers.
Hi, I'm Carl Myers. I'm with the Texas Office of the Attorney General. This is my first meeting here. I am appearing on the agenda as Heather Hunziker. Apologies for that. Heather has left the Office of the Attorney General for a new position as an administrative law judge. So I'll be figuring out how to work with the commission as I figure out GoToMeeting. We look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Carl. I'll pass it on to Commissioner Cunningham in Oklahoma.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. I was having technical difficulties earlier, so we're in the same boat. I am Julie Cunningham, Commissioner for Oklahoma and Executive Director of the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. We've got several of our crew on too, so if you all want to introduce yourselves, I see Sarah.
Sarah Gibson, General Counsel, Water Resources Board.
Bill?
Bill Cothran, the Chief of Water Quality for the Water Resources Board.
And Johannes?
This is Johannes. I'm the Chief Engineer for Oklahoma Water Resources Board.
And then I see Mary or Doug Schooley.
Yeah, need to change that, don't I? Yeah, Mary Schooley, Water Resources Board.
Everyone knows Mary, right? And then we also have Chris Neal, who will be joining us later, and he is new. He's going to be our representative on the budget committee. So appreciate it. I'm glad to be here, everyone. Good to see everybody.
We are, I think James is working with Robin Phillips, our new commissioner from Texas, to get into the meeting. Apparently she was having some type of technical issue, so she'll be joining us here in just a minute.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Robin Phillips.
Commissioner Moore, would you like to? Commissioner Moore, would you like to introduce yourself, sir? That hasn't introduced themselves.
I'm Ken Brazel with Natural Resources Division.
Yeah, this is Sean Jackson. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
There's Robin. There she is.
Anyone else that hasn't introduced yourselves before we get started?
Okay, this is Leisha Warren. I'm new to this committee. I'm the general counsel for Department of Transportation and Development. Although I've been a general counsel for at least 3 years, I had a staff attorney that was managing this committee, so I'm doing it now. So thank you for inviting me.
Welcome, Leisha.
Scott, this is John Michael. I apologize.
No problem, sir. Go right ahead.
My mouse decided to die about the time I went to unmute myself. John Michael Moore, Commissioner from Louisiana. I am just a citizen interested in the rivers. I do have a lot of other interests in the River Bossier Levee District and the Louisiana Watershed Initiative as well. So glad to be here today.
Thank you, sir.
Michelle Hall. I am with the Louisiana Attorney General's Office.
And I'm Ed Knight with the Department of Transportation and Development in the Public Works section. Mr. Landry, our commissioner, is going to be here in a little bit. He's tied up for now, though.
This is Robin Phillips. I'm the new commissioner for Texas, and I'm happy to be here and look forward to learning this today.
Welcome, Commissioner. Anyone else?
Scott, I know it can be hard to run the meeting and look at chat. I just would note everybody's attention that Jen Sheehan from Arkansas Game and Fish is apparently, her microphone's acting up. So it must be some Arkansas thing, right, Ryan? So, anyway, Sean and Ken were able to talk, so maybe we'll hear from Jen later. But anyway, just wanted to note that she had joined.
Thank you.
Any others before we get going? All right. I will go ahead and call the Red River Compact Commission environmental meeting to order. I just want to say thank you to Chairman Lowry. I also like to thank the state commissioners, the legal advisors, and the engineer techs for attending the meeting, and any others that are sitting in. We appreciate your interest in what we do. I also like to give special thanks to Andrea, the Texas State Secretary, and James Scoggins for getting all these meetings set up. She's been running around like crazy getting things going. We appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
There is no agenda. I think we usually just kind of go state by state, given our environmental reports. The way I have it set up right now is it'll be Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So without further ado, I will go ahead and start with the Texas report. The Texas Environmental Committee report, April 26, 2021, looking at invasive species and zebra mussels in particular. Texas has 24 lakes within 6 major river basins that have been fully infested by zebra mussels. The Red River Basin became the first basin within the state to have a confirmed case with an adult zebra mussel was discovered in Lake Texoma on April 3rd, 2009. 2 additional lakes near Lake Texoma have since been listed as fully infested. Those are Lake Dean Gilbert, a 45-acre community fishing lake near the city of Sherman that was listed in 2015, and Randall Lake, which was listed in 2017. Zebra mussel regulations include all of Texas for all types and sizes of boats used on fresh waters. Boaters are required to drain all water from their vessel, including live wells, motors, and any other receptacles, before approaching or leaving a water body. Possession or transportation of zebra mussels in Texas is a Class C misdemeanor. For the first offense, punishable by a fine of up to $500. Repeat offenses can be elevated to a Class B misdemeanor, punishable with a fine up to $2,000 and jail time up to 180 days or both. Besides zebra mussels, it's unlawful to transport or possess any exotic aquatic species. Texas is listed on a harmful or potentially harmful list. Special rules for the Red River Basin include provisions for grass, bighead, and silver carp. The grass carp is listed as a potentially harmful exotic species in Texas. However, state law allows controlled stocking of triploid grass carp to control nuisance aquatic species. Anyone wishing to purchase or stock these fish in a public or private water must first obtain a permit from the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Reservoirs in the Red River Basin with grass carp permitting include Spring Lake Park Pool in Texarkana, Pittsburgh City Lake in Camp County, Lake Cypress Springs in Franklin County, and Waterloo Lake in Denison. If a grass carp is caught in these waters, it must be immediately returned to the water unharmed. In an attempt to stop or slow the intrusion of bighead and silver carp, it is unlawful to transport live, non-game fishes from the following locations in the Red River Basin. Number one, below Lake Texoma downstream to the Arkansas border. 2, Big Cypress Bayou downstream of Farrell's Bridge Dam on Lake of the Pines. And 3, the Sulphur River downstream of Lake Wright-Patman Dam. Looking at Texas Clean Waters Program. The Texas Clean Waters Program is a between TCEQ and regional authorities to coordinate and conduct water quality monitoring, assessment, and stakeholder participation to improve the quality of surface water within each river basin in Texas. Established in 1991, the Clean Rivers Program, or CRP, has become one of the most successful cooperative efforts between federal, state, and local and the citizens of the state of Texas. 15 regional water authorities manage the program in 23 river and coastal basins. The CRP is a hub for water quality information and coordination of monitoring efforts and public participation for each river basin. CRP partners collect more than 60% of water quality data used by TCEQ. There are 3 separate partners with TCEQ for watersheds in the Red River Basin. The Red River Authority of Texas is the partner agency for both the Red and Canadian rivers. The Northeast Texas Municipal Water District is partner agency for Cypress River Basin, and the Sulphur River Basin Authority of Texas is the partner agency for the Sulphur River Basin. The Clean Rivers Program for the Red River watershed in Texas, managed by the Red River Authority of Texas, provides the current state of the basin through the annual Basin Highlights Report. TCEQ has developed a map-based tool for CRP for online viewing metadata associated with TCEQ monitoring stations and a query tool for extracting surface water quality data from TCEQ's Surface Water Quality Monitoring Information System. Those tools can be found on the TCEQ website. Looking at surface water quality, TCEQ Surface Water Quality Monitoring, or SWQM program, monitors and evaluates physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of aquatic systems as a basis for effective policy. More than 1,800 surface water sites statewide are used to collect samples as part of the SWQM program. This data is used by TCEQ to characterize existing conditions or identify emerging problems, evaluate the effectiveness of water quality control programs, or identify trends. The data are also used to determine compliance with the Texas Surface Water Quality Standards through the Texas Integrated Program, Texas Integrated Report. SWQM has an interactive surface water quality viewer available to the public that allows users to view the stream segments and water bodies for a body of water in Texas that the TCEQ monitors. SWQM stations also included in the viewer. An annual workshop is held each fall to bring together surface water quality monitoring professionals in Texas who provide water quality data to TCEQ to learn about procedures to assure the quality and comparability of data and to share advances in the field. The 34th annual SWQM workshop was held virtually on October 28th through the 30th in 2030. And that concludes the Texas Environmental Report. Thank you.
Ready for Oklahoma?
We are. Hey, Bill.
All right. I will work on being brief. Hopefully I'll be successful at that. Here at the Water Board, much like all the rest of us, we were greatly impacted by the pandemic last year, and that greatly curtailed some of our normal data collection efforts. However, I'll talk a little bit about what we did do last year. Here at the Water Resources Board, we conduct a beneficial use monitoring program where we sample lakes, streams, and groundwater basins across the state of Oklahoma. It has 2 or 3 primary goals. One being to look at trends in water quality across the state in our surface waters and our groundwaters. We're also looking at, are these water bodies meeting their assigned beneficial uses in the water quality standards? Yes or no? And if they aren't meeting those uses, what is the causal factor for those uses not being met? And the third primary duty of this sampling program, BUMP, is to collect needed data for our water quality standards program to either modify existing water quality standards or suggest new water quality standards where appropriate. With the pandemic, as I mentioned at the beginning, our sampling activities were greatly curtailed last year for the safety of our staff and because many of our contract labs were shut down as well. But we did do that effort, and we also, in probably the late summer, early spring, continued monitoring again for our contractual projects, which we do all over the state, contractual and federal projects. The beneficial use monitoring program, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, was funded in 1998. It primarily focused on surface waters at the beginning. And around 2013, we added groundwater into the fold. So we've been doing the surface water monitoring now for a little over 20 years. And so this past year and continuing into 2021, we're doing a holistic evaluation of how we do that monitoring. After 20 years, the questions on pertaining to, I guess, are these waters meeting their beneficial uses? We have enough data. And so one of the questions we're looking at now is, do we need to continue monitoring for that purpose in quite the same fashion we are and have done in the past? So we're doing a redesign, looking at our surface waters, asking questions along those lines. What have we done in the past? Do we still need to be doing it? Two, when the program was initially conceived in 1998, there's been a lot of water under the bridge, so to speak, and there are priorities now that weren't even in our radar back in 1998. So we're also asking questions, should we redesign the program to answer the questions that are most germane in 2021? So we're going through that evaluation. We're focusing on surface water first because we've been doing that monitoring for a much longer time. We'll be focusing on groundwater later this year because that program's only been going since 2013. So we are engaging in a great deal of effort on redesigning our program to meet, as I like to say, the water quality data needs and water quantity data needs of the 21st century, and let's leave the 20th century behind. It's quite a ways in our rearview mirror anyway. So that's BUMP. We're also doing a great deal of bathymetric mapping across the state. It also supports our beneficial use monitoring program and helps us evaluate dissolved oxygen use support in lakes, because to do that effectively, we need to know what's the volume of the water body, because our criteria is predicated on, and our use support criteria is the volume of anoxic water. So you need a really good idea of how much water is in the bucket to calculate that. So we do a bathymetric mapping program. We do that across the state of Oklahoma. Last year in the Red River Basin, we did a bathymetric map of Dave Boyer Lake, which is a small lake in southern Oklahoma. This year, we've currently started sampling efforts on Lake Atoka in southeastern Oklahoma. One of our more lovely lakes, and I'll say that tongue in cheek, but a useful lake for water quality. Difficult to bathymetric map because it's full of tree stumps everywhere, but we're doing a bathymetric map of Atoka this year. Our database that we're currently using is called Aquams. It's supported by Gold Systems, and those are the same people that used to run the old storette. So what we're doing this year, the primary focus on that database is helping it do some of our water quality assessments for us to automate that. We are also working with Gold Systems to facilitate the more easily accessible data to the public. I don't know if I said that very well, but we're interested in having the public get much more ready access to our data. Now you kind of have to have some a priori knowledge of what you're looking for and how to get information out of that database. And we're trying to come up with some quick and easy modules that allow the public to access our information much easier. Stream gauging also comes about through this agency where the managing state agency working with USGS, which I'm sure Jason Lewis will talk a little bit more about tomorrow. There haven't really been any changes to the gauging program the last few years in this basin. Cooperators have been very willing to put up some money. And Jason with USGS, Jason Lewis in Oklahoma, has been very cooperative in trying to keep costs down as much as possible. In fact, I don't think USGS costs have gone up in the last couple of years. So thank USGS for that. So we haven't had to drop gauges, and we're thankful for that. The other effort I'll talk about that we're currently doing is related to our financial assistance division. We're doing infrastructure mapping for primarily smaller municipalities in Oklahoma who shockingly have many of their staff retiring. And if you deal with smaller municipalities, you're probably well aware, once the one individual who knows where everything's at retires, they don't know where their lines are. So We're working with them proactively, some of the smaller municipalities, once again, funded through our financial assistance program, our loan program, to try to map their infrastructure. So the municipalities will have access to those files when we're done, can see where other lines are, can hopefully benefit them in knowing where they need lines, where they might potentially have a line break, to find that. So we continue to map those municipalities. We do anywhere from probably 6 to 10 a year, depending on the size of the system. We've learned over the years, just because the number of users on the system may be small, that doesn't mean the system isn't 800 miles long, which is a learning we picked up on a couple of years ago. We had a small system in terms of number of users, but they had lines crossing 6 counties in Oklahoma. So that was a very useful effort we continue to do, working with our financial programs, mapping the infrastructure. And our staff actually enjoys working with the small municipalities for the most part. And with that, I'll entertain any questions you may have. Cool. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bill. We'll move on to Louisiana.
See if I can get everything turned on properly here. So we've had an interesting year. I'm going to spare you a lot of the just general data that we have. I'll include it in our report for you to read later. We finalized our 2020 water quality integrated report just last February on the 22nd. So I provided a link to that, and I will also send a PDF of that in with the report for the records. With regards to REACH 3 and 4, which is the Louisiana piece of the Red River Compact, we don't have any significant TMDL activities or anything like that with the DEQ. A lot of our focus right now is to the south. But part of that has to do with the fact that the water quality is improving. Washtaws, DOs, and chlorides are all fine. Same with the red, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about all that. Our Department of Environmental Quality does have, a little bit of concern about periodically losing some of those dedicated rates that we've all agreed to, but by no means are they atrocious at all. As a matter of fact, they've been pretty good and getting better. So we're all thrilled to see that. Louisiana also completed its 2020 annual report, Water Resources Commission report. I provided a link with that in this report as well. It'll bring you directly to our website. It covers all of the work statewide. So if there's anything of any particular value, we've got a lot to talk about. There's some modeling and mapping that I'm going to talk about during the engineering report that behave similarly to the way the ones you just got done talking about. We'll be doing a lot of bathymetry in particular pieces of the state along the northeast part of our state, where we plan on doing a lot of 2D modeling. So yeah, there's a lot of environmental benefits with that. So I'll spare that and provide it to you in the engineer report. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to report unless anybody has any specific questions.
Thank you, Ed. With that, we'll move on to Arkansas.
It's gotta be Sean, so maybe she can't talk again. Sean?
Yeah, I thought Ken was going to discuss.
Oh.
Are you on, Ken?
Yeah, I'm on, but I'll default to you, Sean, or I can cover. We like the other states, we provided an environmental committee report. Not a lot of changes in our 303 delisting. We have a lot of non-point projects ongoing in primarily the southern part of Arkansas, which is the Red River Basin portion in Arkansas. And not much, I don't have much more than that, Sean. Do you, or Sean or Ryan, if you want to add anything?
No, I don't have anything to add to that.
Scott, I believe the environmental committee report I sent you last week. So if anybody has any specific questions on that later, we'll be glad to answer those either later today or tomorrow or after the, after the compact commission.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ken.
Sure.
All right, that's all the reports. Chairman Lowry.
Yes, sir.
We have some time left. Would you like to take the leftover time and talk about the web presence for reports and anything else we would like to?
Sure. I guess maybe just a couple of kind of more related to this committee before we launch into the web stuff. I guess a couple of the states have mentioned that they had provided reports. I guess, Scott, had those been circulated to each other? I guess I don't recall having seen those, and maybe Andrea can jump in as to whether those had been shared with her. I didn't see them in the packet.
Those were shared with her just recently. They weren't added in the packet.
Or maybe they're on the website. I didn't go look at your website, at TCEQ's website.
No, they came in after the packet was put together, so we will add them to the packet. We'll add that to the packet and send them out. Some of those came in after the packet had been put together.
Okay, that sounds great.
We will get those out to everyone.
Sure, no, I understand. That's great. That'd be fine. And then I guess kind of related to the topic you discussed, Scott, maybe others can weigh in too. Here in Wyoming, we've been doing really good, knock on wood, to keep zebra mussels out of the state, even though we have a lot of, in the summertime, a lot of boats that are in infested waters the rest of the year do come here. But some of our pet shops started selling these balls, essentially, that would go into aquariums that came from the Ukraine that had zebra mussels in them. Have any other states had that issue?
Haven't heard about that.
I haven't heard about that in Oklahoma either.
Okay, I want to hear that again. Say that again, Chairman Lowry. What was that? Did we lose her?
Yeah, so it's related to zebra mussels, but what were sold in pet stores were these, those pictures I saw, they just dried ball about the size of a tennis ball that then I guess you would put it in aquariums for just like your fish to go in and out of. Essentially they were an algae, but a good thing to add to an aquarium. But it turns out that some of them were infested with zebra mussels. And so there's now this, not buyback exactly, but they're asking the public to do the right thing and bring these, for sure don't flush them down your toilet or, put them into the waterway system. And then if people did happen to buy these, there's instructions on Game and Fish's website on how to dispose of properly. And they're putting up these drop boxes at game and fish offices around the state. So I don't know. I mean, Wyoming's so small. I guess I find it odd that, you know, they would just come to pet stores in Wyoming. But anyway, we were, you know, sort of
Wow.
lamenting, I guess, that here you know, the state had worked so hard with boat checkpoints and all that. And it's like, well, crap, you know, here's how maybe these mussels are going to find their way into the waterway system is through some way no one would have ever thought of. So anyway, I just was curious whether anybody else had heard of that concern.
Hi, this is Jen Sheehan.
Arkansas has had them. Jennifer, oh, sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, I'm having problems sending messages. Hopefully my microphone's working. Yes, we're having the same problem with those algae balls, and our state has had a big public information campaign. You can go to our website and learn about it. We've worked with the pet stores. We've had our staff go and work with them. So yes, it's not just your state. Arkansas is having the same problem.
Goodness.
Do we know what's the genesis? They're coming in from where? Are they're being shipped into the US and being sold, and where are they from where?
Well, and Jen probably knows way more about this than I do, but I had heard the original export point was somewhere in the Ukraine, but again, I'm hearing all this kind of third hand at the coffee shop sort of thing. So Jen may have a lot better information than I do.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that could be a major problem.
But they were coming into, you know, like PetSmart, and I mean, it wasn't just little fly-by-night places.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
Chairman, Google tells me that we have them in Oklahoma. We just have to check with our wildlife department and see what's happening.
Yeah, it's called a marmo ball or a moss ball, and it absorbs unwanted nutrients in an aquarium. And a company from California ordered them from the Ukraine.
Goodness.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems like there should be a widespread PSA alert put out on that. I mean, that could, you know, I mean, they don't have any idea how wide the distribution is. Do we know?
I don't know personally, but
I don't know, Jen.
Yeah, I personally haven't been dealing with it. Our aquatic invasive folks have, but we're telling anyone that has purchased these things to take them out, put them in a place where they can totally dry out, and then dispose of them in the garbage.
Wow. Yeah, good idea. Wow.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to divert us, but thank you,
No.
Jen,
That was
Sarah, and
interesting,
others
Steve.
for the status. So, yeah, I think, you know, like say, just sort of anything we can do to help get the word out. Just, I'm sure a lot of aquarium owners don't intend to do the wrong thing, certainly. So,
I know. I mean, it's like you go to the pet store to get, you know, some little thing to add to your kid's aquarium, and you end up causing, you know, some kind of huge environmental catastrophe. And, you know, I'm sure these people have no idea, you know, why would you?
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I know pretty early on when zebra mussels showed up in
Right.
Oklahoma,
Yeah.
we were talking in Oklahoma how, you know, we put boats on most of the lakes in the state, and it's like, well, we're actually the perfect vector for transporting villagers from lake to lake. So we institute a pretty rigorous decon program. And it's like, well, that would be really ironic if we're the ones potentially transporting zebra mussels all over Oklahoma. That would be bad public press. But yeah,
Bill, that was off the record, right, Bill?
That was off the record.
All
strike those comments.
Well, other than say, we realized it was a potential issue and we addressed it before it became a problem, did we not? Yes, we did. Proper planning gets you a pretty good result.
Okay, so to move on to the other topic, just thought maybe during a committee call, and we have all the states represented here, so now is a good time. Thanks, Scott. So I think we talked about this last year, and then with COVID and just the the complications of not seeing each other. I think all of the commissioners agreed that trying to find a place so that when the public, any of us, whenever a person would do a search for the latest annual reports of the Red River Compact Commission, that you would find, be able to quickly find, say, up to the last 10 years of annual reports. So now, when at least on my Google search, both Oklahoma Water Resource Board and Texas CEQ's websites will pop up, but it's a little circuitous to find your way to annual reports, and there's really no, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe any of the states have currently loaded 9 or 10 years worth of annual reports. So Mary, many thanks to you, had checked with the IT support that you have for Oklahoma. And Mary, I'll just let you go ahead and go. Apparently it's doable to host, I guess, up to that much, to say 10 years worth of reports.
I didn't know exactly what you were looking for other than just the past reports, but Darla indicated that wouldn't be a problem. So I don't, if it's just the annual reports, or if we need more, we can, get with her, but I'm sure we could be able to upload what you need. So.
Okay, and then Scott, I guess you had also mentioned that TCEQ's website could be utilized, but I'll admit I did not go and look at your site currently to see what all is up there now, and I don't want the states to have to duplicate. So I don't know if between Oklahoma and Texas we wanted to sort of, decide who's the host and who gets pointed to, if you will.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we have something very similar to what Mary just said. The information that I posted for these meetings is on the TCEQ Red River Compact Commission website. But you're right, you have to drive a little bit to get to what you're looking for. Probably very similar to Oklahoma's. There's, it's not a cost. We can put just about anything that you want on there, however many years you want. We can put a copy of the compact and any other information that you want up there at no cost. I'm not the IT guy, but I'm sure that we can figure out a way to make the drive to the information a little easier.
Yeah, I think
and
from
maybe
our homepage, we just have interstate stream compacts, and then each of our 4 compacts are there from that link, and it has just the current report, the basin map, and the compact articles, and the membership. That's all we have on for each compact. But we could add the other reports as well. So what, whatever y'all like.
And Jason Lewis, if you're still on, I guess maybe a question. I'm recalling, and I don't remember if it was last year's annual meeting virtually or back when we actually were face to face the last time, of commenting that maybe there were, and now I don't even remember if it was in your office, Jason, or some other USGS office, that perhaps there might be some other paper records of the Compact Commission. And again, my memory may not be very good on that. Am I recalling any of that right?
Yeah, you're correct. We do have 2 file cabinets full of historic paper records. We don't have any of them digitally scanned though, so that would be kind of a process. But anybody's more than welcome to have access to any of those.
But I guess Jason, you're I guess you're continuing to add, even as things get more electronic, than you are putting a hard copy a printed copy of each annual report into that file cabinet then, or is it more older information?
No, each year it's get added, so it's a continuous record.
Okay, great. So that's actually kind of the repository, if you will. And I guess, is there any problem with your office continuing to be kind of the keeper of that information?
No, we don't have a problem with that, no.
Okay, perfect. But I'm just hearkening back to my old days on the Yellowstone Compact Commission. I know there the USGS representative is the federal chair, so a little different circumstance. And it was kind of a hassle, if I'm remembering right, for the USGS to kind of be the keeper of the official compact website. So because a couple of our states might be well poised to do that, I guess, Jason, I just want to check in with you that's, I'm presuming that's fine on your end as the USGS kind of keeper of the records.
Yeah, that would be great, because we're, due to standardized web pages and that kind of thing, we're not equipped to kind of add stuff like that. So don't mind keeping the paper copies, but if somebody else could do the digital, that would be fantastic.
Okay, great. So I guess Mary and Scott, do we want to maybe Darla and whoever her counterpart in Texas kind of chat, or I don't want this to make this more complicated than it needs to be, but flip a coin. However we decide who might be. I have no reason to duplicate, I guess.
Well, since I already mentioned it to Darla and she seemed to think it was easy, why don't you let me visit with her more, and then if it's not something we can do we just want the past 10 years reports, or is there other information that you want displayed, like meeting agendas and that as it comes up, or just the records of meetings?
I guess from my perspective, I was thinking more kind of the historical, just as people are preparing, or new folks take a new job where now they want to know something about the commission. It would be nice for those annual reports. But I guess, Scott, do you have a feel for how many people have found it helpful to have, or Andrea have had, have you been able to kind of send people there because the upcoming meeting materials are on the web? I don't have a sense for how important that is. It seems like it's nice, but
yeah. Well, the reports are a record. They're just usually, the year in arrears. But
right.
I haven't had any feedback from the public, as they search or inquiring. So I'm assuming they're finding the information that they're looking for. So.
Yeah, and many thanks to you and others of keeping the directory current, because that is
it changes daily.
Thank you so much for doing that, Mary. That is very helpful to people.
I had some updates this morning, so I'm glad to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
I do know that it's just always been, it seems to be an issue, the size of those annual reports is just so large to try to send, and it's just so nice to have them posted somewhere online. Just to be able to go there and access them. And did we have a, and I may have missed it, I had to jump on something real quick, but did we decide like how many years we wanted to go back? Like how many?
I was suggesting 10, Andrea, but I think that's open for discussion. But
yeah, I guess my question is, when we and I'm asking this out loud, when we post the historical annual reports, do we have any sense of what part of the report is most sought after? When people are looking for historical data, is there any particular part of it that's more relevant than others, or we don't have any idea?
I don't have any idea. I would think maybe they were just interested in what the compact itself is.
I agree.
And the boundary, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. My guess would be that it's nice to have the minutes there. You know, I'm thinking of,
Actions.
well, just to use an example, Kim Lutz with the America's Watershed is going to give a presentation tomorrow. She didn't really know anything about the compact, and I think had it been, you know, easily accessible to look at the last 2 or 3 years worth of minutes, you know, to get a sense for who comes to these meetings, what are the issues that are addressed. But, you know, I guess I could see where people would look at, certainly at the state reports, they would look at, you know, if you were just trying to narrow in on a year that you knew was dry, you might go look at different reports than you would some other times. So I would guess the answer would be, it depends on who the looker is.
Right. You know, I was just wondering if there would be a benefit, and the reason I'm asking this is I'm wondering if there would be a benefit to the manner in which we post it, the format in which we post it, wherever, you know, whether it's the Texas website or Oklahoma's or both or one or the other. But just like, would we want to put the meeting minutes for this year and then the agenda packet like separate? Would we, you know, would we want the info from the committee meetings, each one of the committee meetings posted separately, or we just want this whole annual report and that's it, just as a, you know, one continuous PDF that people just click and, you know, can download?
Yeah, those are good thoughts, Andrea. I guess I wasn't looking to make this, you know, to index them in any way. I guess I just thought if there were PDFs of the annual reports that already get compiled. But again, I think, you know, now's when we're deciding. So if we think there's a better way.
Yeah. Does anybody have any strong opinions on that either way?
I kind of like the straight PDF. You know, people are going to thumb through the whole thing. If they're really looking at it, they're going to thumb through the whole thing. To me, it seems a little easier just to have that one document and
just have the agenda on the front, and then people can just look through kind of how we have it, and they can find whatever they want in that annual report for each year.
Seems simple to me. Someone may have a different opinion.
Yeah, I think when we start indexing and separating things out and different links, it gets a lot more complicated than what I think Mary had initially discussed with our staff. So that may be a project for the future, but I think right now probably just the PDFs of the report.
Could you say that again? Somebody broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. If we wanted to look at more detailed website options in the future, we could, but I think for now, just to get started, just the regular PDF uploads.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that would be good. We'll see how many years back we have. I think we have them all.
Yeah, I guess, Mary, if you can't go back 10 years, let me know. I did get Jeff's boxes from him. So, you know, if we do need to go looking around for a CD or something, I'm happy to do that. But just knowing how organized you are, I'm betting you have as good a list as anybody.
I have quite a collection. I don't know how far back it goes, but maybe more than 10 years.
Yeah. Whatever you have is
Same here,
Good. Well, good. Well, that was very helpful. Thanks, Scott, and thanks, Mary, for all your efforts. I guess maybe if you could just check with Darla and then
Darla and see what and tell her we just want to upload the past 10 years of each report, and you know, if she hasn't, she'll have some questions for me, I'm sure, so we can work through that, and I'll get with Scott if once I talk to her.
Sounds good, Mary.
Great. Good. Yeah, and then I guess just the that state staff distribution list that I have, we can kind of keep everybody in the loop and just keep working on this, throughout the year rather than needing to wait for the next annual meeting, certainly. So,
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Well, great. So Scott, I guess the next one is engineering. And I think, James, the way you have it set up, we should probably all log out and log back in again. Is that kind of what works best?
That's correct.
Okay, thank y'all.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good discussion.
Thanks.